Hello and welcome to the Sunday evening's edition of Arirang News. I'm Daniel Che, here to provide you with the latest. Our starting point, the upcoming general election here in Korea. With candidate registration complete, Korea's political parties are gearing up to make their pitches to voters as the 13-day campaign period kicks off on Thursday. Hwang Jae has more on each party's campaign pledges and election goals.
Korea's political parties have set their slogans for the April 13th general election, in which 300 lawmakers will be elected, determining the political landscape for the next 4 years. The ruling Saenuri Party is promoting itself as the party of a working parliament, saying lawmakers who are elected will return their salaries if they fail to fulfill the campaign pledge. The party is also using the phrase politics of betrayal to slam the opposition for preventing the passage of what it says are key economic bills. With that, the party is aiming to win a majority of the 300 seats up for grabs. On Monday, the party will launch its election committee, which is widely expected to be led by 5 members, including the party's chief Kim Moo-sung and floor leader Won Yu-chol. The main opposition Minju Party of Korea, on the other hand, is calling for a referendum on the Park Geun-hye administration's poor handling of the economy. It says the unemployment rate has shot up and the gap between rich and poor has only widened under the president's policies. Kim Jong-in, the party's interim leader, is expected to lead the election campaign committee that's set to kick off as early as Sunday. The Minju Party of Korea is aiming to win around 130 seats in parliament. The minor opposition People's Party, meanwhile, aims to grab 20 seats, enough to give it a negotiation bloc in parliament and create a 3-party system. All 3 parties are gearing up to the official campaign period that begins on Thursday. Hwang Jae, Arirang News.
North Korea demands Seoul apologize for a military drill last week targeting key facilities in the north, while the south responded with its own warning. Kim Min-bin has more on the exchange of strong words between the two Koreas.
North Korea threatened to turn South Korea's presidential office and other key facilities into ashes if it doesn't get an apology from South Korea for hurting the dignity of its leader, Kim Jong-un. The ultimatum was issued Saturday through the North state-run Korean Central News Agency.
If South Korea ignores our final warning, our long-range artillery on the border will engage in military action.
The report also contained a video showing Kim Jong-un presiding over a heavy artillery drill on the border, though it did not say when the footage was taken. Pyongyang accused Seoul of staging a drill last week that it says targeted the office of the North Korean leader. The South Korean military has confirmed that its Air Force did conduct a large-scale air raid drill simulating strikes on key facilities in the north. During the drill, 16 fighter jets carrying precision-guided missiles escorted a military transport plane carrying a special forces unit. The South Korean military urged the north to stop its rhetoric and warned that its provocations will lead to the regime's destruction. A South Korean military official told Seoul-based Yonhap News that its military is ready to counter any threats from the north, though they have spotted no unusual movement north of the border. The ultimatum is the latest bit of rhetoric against Seoul amid an ongoing South Korea-U.S. military exercises that have heightened tensions on the peninsula. North Korea says the drills are a rehearsal for war, while Seoul and Washington say they are purely defensive in nature. The North has made similar threats to destroy South Korea's presidential office in the past, but has never followed through with military action. The drills between Seoul and Washington are scheduled to run through end of April. Kim Min-bin, Arirang News.
U.S. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump says he would allow South Korea to have its own nuclear weapons and will be willing to withdraw U.S. troops from the peninsula. In an interview with the New York Times on Saturday, Trump said both South Korea and Japan should have their own nukes to protect themselves from North Korea. This goes against Washington's long-held stance on nuclear non-proliferation in Northeast Asia. Pyongyang has been enhancing its nuclear capabilities and conducted a 4th nuclear test earlier this year. Trump also said the U.S. cannot afford to lose vast amounts of money stationing troops in the two countries, and said Washington will no longer be exploited. There are currently about 29,000 U.S. troops stationed in South Korea, and there's a sizable Air Force and Marine contingent in Japan. Moving on to the U.S. presidential primary, Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton was feeling the burn over the weekend as Bernie Sanders cruised to back-to-back wins in Washington, Alaska, and Hawaii. The Vermont senator had a wide lead over Clinton in Washington, 72% to 27%, and an even bigger margin in Alaska of 81% to Clinton's 18%, and 70% to 29% in Hawaii. Still, it will be an uphill battle for the Vermont senator. According to CNN, the former Secretary of State has amassed more than 1,700 of the some 2,400 delegates she would need to clinch the nomination. Sanders has 952, meaning he would need to win 75% of the remaining pledged delegates to beat Clinton. The losses came as no surprise to the Clinton campaign, which portrayed the defeat as a warning to donors that even though she has a commanding lead, her supporters will still have to chip in to help her secure the nomination. Belgian prosecutors have charged 3 men suspected of links to last week's attacks with terror offenses following the suicide attacks on the Brussels airport and metro that killed 31 people and injured 300. An investigating judge issued an arrest warrant for one of the 3, Faisal C, and charged him with terrorist murder, attempted murder relating to terror plots, and links to terror groups. Some reports have linked the man to a man pictured in CCTV footage moments before the airport attack, but the Belgian authorities have not verified that. Meanwhile, the march planned for Sunday against the attacks has been cancelled after the government urged people to avoid putting an additional strain on the overtaxed police force. The Brussels airport will remain closed until Tuesday for repair work and the installation of new security measures. Foreign and local economic institutions predict Korea will expand in the 0.3 to 0.7% range in the first quarter of this year. That drags Korea's annual growth outlook for 2016 down to as low as 1% to 2.6%, which is in stark contrast with the 3.1% expansion projected by the government. Goldman Sachs, in a recent report, slashed its first quarter growth outlook to 0.3% from its earlier forecast of 0.5%. It expects Korea to grow 2.4% this year. JP Morgan has also cut this year's projection of 3% to 2.6%. A local institution, LG Economic Research Institute, forecasts Korea will grow 2.5% this year. It's been more than 3 months since the Korea-China Free Trade Agreement went into effect, and Korean exporters have been reaping the benefits of the deal since December 20th. A new report by Korea International Trade Association shows 4% of exports benefited from lower import duties in the first month, and the figure jumped to 20% in the second month. The report says electronics led the way with an increase of more than 97%, followed by the metal, tool, textile, and garment sectors. China's non-tariff barriers are nearly 4 times as broad as Korea's, which could erode the benefits of the trade pact, prompting policymakers to launch a bilateral working group to tackle the problem. Team Korea has bagged the most medals in another International Abilympics. This year, the global competition for people with disabilities was held in Bordeaux, France. Team Korea, made up of veteran vocational workers, battled against contestants from 32 countries to grab 14 gold, 8 silver, and 2 bronze medals en route to defending their crown for the 6th straight time. Taiwan took second place. China came in third. President Park Geun-hye delivered a congratulatory message to the national team, saying they had raised the honor and pride of the Korean people. First held in 1981, the Abilympics was launched by the UN to commemorate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. It's part of efforts to help persons with disabilities improve their vocational skills and participate in socio-economic activities. In addition to its competitiveness in the information technology industry, South Korea has made big strides in agricultural technology over the years. Our Kim Mo-gyun has the details.
South Korea has been well acknowledged as the #1 country in the world when it comes to cultivation and production of ginseng. The country has achieved worldwide recognition for its stabilized production of high-quality ginseng and rice plants that are highly pest-resistant. And with continued efforts to develop its farming industry, Korea has emerged as one of the best countries in the world in agricultural technology. According to research held by the Korea Rural Development Administration on the top 10 countries that acquire some 36 major technologies in the farming industry, South Korea ranked 5th next to the United States, EU, Japan, and Canada. The nation's Agricultural Science Technology Index stood at 83.4 points last year, up from 80.7% in 2010 under the benchmark 100 set by the U.S.
I think the improvement is due to a continuous increase in R&D investment and the establishment of appropriate agenda items by the Rural Development Administration.
The organization forecasts South Korea's general agricultural technology to continue its growth, reaching a high of 88.4 points in the next 5 years. But to pursue this goal, it seems like Korea needs to put more effort behind its shortcomings, such as urban agriculture, care farming, and disaster prevention technologies. Kim Mo-gyan, Arirang News.
And now for a quick look at the weather forecast before we go. Time to put away your wintry weather gear as spring-like weather is expected at the start of the week here in Korea. But Monday morning will start in the single digits, so do carry an extra layer with you as you step out the door. Seoul and Daegu will start at 4 degrees Celsius and Daejeon will be at 1. Later on, the mercury will rise all the way to 18 in Seoul and Daejeon and get up to 20 in Daegu. That's Korea for you. Let's check out the weather conditions outside of the nation, around the world. We've come to the end of our newscast. As always, thank you for watching.